Welcome to the 2019 ClearMark Awards. We're happy to have you take in our first ever online ceremony. We're excited to try this new format, and we can see you are too. As of this morning, nearly 200 people have registered for this event. That's amazing. For those of you who have not used Zoom before, I want to alert you to a few features. First, you may see a thumbnail image or two on your screen. If you're in full, you can minimize those by hovering the image and clicking the minimize button. This will be less distracting during the ceremony. Also, we have the chat box open for you to ask questions or post comments about the ceremony. Please be aware that everyone will see what you post in the chat box. There's also a Q&A tool at the bottom of your screen that you can use if you have a technical issue with the webinar. We will have a couple of polls during the event where you can vote or voice your opinion, so look for those. And I should note that this is a live event reliant on technology. If you work with technology, who doesn't these days, you know these things can sometimes go awry. If something happens, please bear with us. We will get it fixed and back on track in no time. If you'd like to tweet news a big win today, please use the hashtag ClearMarks19. We'd love to see pictures of your team participating in today's event. Now that that's out of the way, let me introduce myself. I'm the MC for today's event, improv actor and blogger from Detroit, Michigan, Jess Loria Kay. I'm thrilled to be hosting this year's awards and thrilled to be doing legitimate cam girl work for once. These awards are coming to you digitally for the first time, which for me means that I assume all of my jokes are being met with riotous laughter and applause. So I'll just go and hold now for that. When I was hired to steer this ship, it was because, and this is true, for a while I kept a blog dedicated to the U.S. presidents. It was just a normal place where people could learn about history through the time-honored medium of fan fiction. It's called POTUS Interruptus, and I'm being informed that's probably all I should say about it in the middle of a Tuesday afternoon. Rest assured, the language used in the blog, well, very spicy, was also than Harry S. Truman, which actually brings me nicely to today's theme. Our theme this year is Plain Language is Everywhere. We chose this theme because it captures so much about the center, this event, and plain language overall. If you're here, you know plain language is desperately needed in all sectors: government, nonprofit, healthcare, law, financial institutions, and more. Those invested in plain language come from all over the map, as you will see today. And there are many exciting plain language activities going on around the world. All of this adds up to one simple fact: plain language truly is everywhere. Today, we celebrate the best plain language work from the past year. We will present the finalists in each of the 13 categories, announce the category winners, and before we're finished, we'll crown the 2019 Grand ClearMark winners for English and Spanish. In between, we'll hopefully have some fun. To get things started, I'd like to welcome the chair of the Center for Plain Language, Jeff Greer.
Thanks, Jess. As many of you are aware, this is the first time we've hosted the award ceremony without a banquet, and perhaps even more significantly, totally online. So I'd like to welcome everyone today to this new kind of event that we're trying. I know some of you might be missing the cocktail hour at the press club and having an excuse to get dressed up and catch up with old friends. But I want to talk about why we're trying this new format. We've heard feedback over the past few years that the awards event is too expensive and time-consuming for people outside of the DC area. We've even heard from people who didn't submit to the awards because of the expense of traveling to DC for the event. Having this event online equalizes access, geographically and financially, and that makes greater participation possible at a fraction of the cost. As the Center Board continues to examine the core functions that serve our mission and our members, we're looking for opportunities to widen the reach of our programs by making them more democratic and less exclusive. So this ceremony is a little bit of an experiment for us. If returning to an in-person event makes sense in the future, that's what we'll do. One of the great things about this event is how it gives us an opportunity to report on the things we've been working on over the past year. This year, the Center Board has looked at ways to steward and focus our resources, our time, our talent, our finances, on those things that will do the most to support the cause of plain language and grow our sphere of influence. To that end, we're looking to expand our outreach to members and our relationships with sponsors, and to make the best use of every dollar, whether that's donation or dues. In the area of member outreach, the last couple of years, we've resolved to invite more members to get involved in the running of the center's activities. For example, we've increased the number of plain language experts like you who help grade our federal report card. We also want to help our members reach their own communities and local governments with plain language influence. If you need support in talking to your state or local government about adopting plain language, please reach out to us for our support, or share any ideas or best practices you might have. Sponsor relationships and visibility is another area we're focusing on. As you're probably aware, in addition to membership dues, individual and corporate sponsorships are a significant portion of our income. The ClearMark Awards provides an opportunity for us to give those sponsors some well-deserved visibility. And this is an excellent time to thank those sponsors for making today's event and so many things we do possible. First, we'll start with our patron sponsors, More Carrot and Kleiman Communications. We give a big thank you to More Carrot, the expert in transforming business documents into business assets, letters, forms, customer agreements, disclosure language, and more. They serve the United States, the United Kingdom, and Europe. More carrot, less stick. We also thank the Kleiman Communications Group for their support. At Kleiman, we believe in the power of plain language, the power to help consumers understand information, and the power to help organizations work more efficiently. We are experts in plain language, helping our clients think and communicate more clearly. Find them at kleiman.com. I also want to extend a big thank you to our other sponsors, Communicate Health, Reddish and Associates, Visible Thread, Plain, AHA Media, Core Content Group, Plain Language Health, the Plain Language Group, and Zula. And please join me in a round of virtual applause to thank those sponsors for their generosity and their commitment to plain language. Now we want to look ahead to the upcoming year, and I'm really excited to share some new initiatives with you. We're partnering with two sibling plain language organizations, Plain International and Clarity, to develop a set of global plain language standards that can serve writers and the people who depend on those words they write across cultures, disciplines, and sectors. Another initiative includes two new report cards, one for health information and one for financial. We've started defining our approach, and we hope to announce a timeline for releasing these early next year. And speaking of 2020, next year is the 10th anniversary of the Plain Writing Act. We're planning a big celebration, and we're going to want you to celebrate with us. We'll publish details about this later this year, so keep an eye out for more information. And as we approach this anniversary, the center is at a turning point. We can continue doing the work we've always done in the way we've always done it, or we can become more vibrant with more political and cultural clout, with a greater capacity to spread our message, and an ability to push for change that really matters. But to do that, we need your help. We need you to get involved. We need you to volunteer and work with us on one of these programs. We also need your support financially with a membership or sponsorship. We can achieve our goals, but only if you're there with us. We need you to step up and support the Center for Plain Language. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. And I want to thank you for your commitment to creating better, useful information for all of your audiences. I also wanted to especially thank those of you who are on the event today who work in and with the federal government. All of us know that this has been an exceptionally challenging year for you. We want to thank you for staying focused and persevering through shutdowns and other challenges that you faced. And I'm looking forward to getting this party started, and I'll turn the presentation back to Jess.
What an inspiring message from Jeff. I can't wait to see the news that the center will be creating a culture of clarity. Creating such a culture is no easy task. Look, I've been married for 2 years and we're still trying to figure out what we mean when we speak. It's somehow almost always please do the dishes. As I mentioned earlier, those of us invested in plain language come from all around the globe. To illustrate, take a look at this map that shows where our 2019 ClearMark submissions come from. And here is a map of our ClearMarks. They come from everywhere and provide such an important service. Thank you, judges. And to round things out, here is where our Center for Plain Language Board comes from. If we were to add all our members, I'm sure we wouldn't be able to see some parts of the globe. It is wonderful to see how widespread our efforts on plain language are. Thanks to all of you. Today we celebrate all the great work that is going on across the map. However, I think all of it is not all rosy when it comes to plain language. To discuss this more, I'd like to introduce Jennifer Pierce, Vice Chair of the Center for Plain Language.
Thank you, and good morning from the West Coast. I'm happy to be here today and very excited for today's event. If you've been involved at all with the center, you'll recall that a few years ago, we started the WTF Awards. These took the place of the ClearMark Awards. The WTFs are for work that failed to communicate clearly. But let's be honest. WTF is what you think when you see signs, forms, and more like the ones we'll show today. So let's take a look at a few of this year's nominees, and we have some doozies. We collected these from submissions as well as things we or some of you talked about on social media. So first up, we have the dog poop cleanup sign. Person shall remove all excrement from pets pursuant. We've all seen signs like this, and this one was brought to our attention by Center member Joe Kimball on his Twitter account. But what exactly does it mean? Next, we have a landlord-tenant legal document. Here's an example any of us who have tried to read a legal notice may have experienced before. Definitely WTF. When you're in a dispute with your landlord, this is probably not what you want to try to decipher. Our third nominee is the hospital charge master. How many of you are aware of the new rules about charge masters? As of January 1st, 2019, hospitals were required to publish lists of their typical charges for procedures. These lists are known as charge masters. The rules, of course, do not specify how this information should be shared, and as a result, most organizations are simply posting their charge masters, which looks something like this. Considering that most procedures include multiple charges and that most people cannot decipher the medical jargon and abbreviations, and just glancing at this, I mean, there are many numbers as words, it isn't as transparent as the reg intended, obviously. Absolutely another richly deserved WTF. And finally, nominee number 4 is an example that we are probably all familiar with, the infamous social media privacy policy. Why should we care that social media privacy policies are hard to read? Who reads them anyway? We simply check the I agree box and move along. Recently, though, we've been reminded that maybe we should care about what's happening to our data or our kids' data. The BBC took the time to assess social media privacy policies from all the major players, shown here, and found shockingly that all were more difficult than a Dickens novel, though far less entertaining. Some were long enough to compete with Shakespeare's Comedy of Errors, nearly 15,000 words. If privacy policies are convoluted and exceedingly long, it discourages people from fully understanding and being able to make an informed decision about sharing their data. And what are we teaching teens? That it's okay to not expect to understand? The center knows a WTF when it sees one. So with so many WTFs, and we've given you 4 really rich ones here, it might be hard to pick just one, but that is exactly what we'd like you to do. So we've put together a poll, and we'd like you to take a moment to please vote for your favorite 2019 WTF nominee now.
Thanks, Jennifer. While everyone's voting, I'm going to just doll with some of my favorite WTF anecdotes. Here's one about Teddy Roosevelt. You know him, notorious Rough Rider and big stick carrier. He kept a zoo full of animals in the White House during his tenure, including a badger named Josiah. So there you go. These are just the kinds of things that live in my brain, next to old NSYNC lyrics. So don't want to hear me start singing every word to It's Gonna Be Me. I suggest you hurry up and finish voting. Plain language is very important, but my questionable singing skills, they're something else. All right, let's take a look and see if we have a winner. It looks like with 38% of the vote, Dog Poop Cleanup Sign takes our WTF award for 2019. Thank you everyone for participating. Unfortunately, the electologist has voted for the landlord-tenant legal document, so that's it. That's what happened. No, I'm kidding. This is a true democracy. Dog poop for everyone. All right, now that that's out of the way, let's get started. It's time for your 2019 ClearMark Awards. This year, we've received a total of 120 entries across the following categories: before and after digital, before and after print, brochures over 10 pages, brochures up to 10 pages, digital, email, and newsletters, digital apps and microsites, digital websites, forms, applications, and statements, infographics, legal, letters and correspondence, posters, charts, and flyers, Spanish. Once again, the competition was open to all of North America. And we are pleased to again present awards for Best Spanish Submissions. This year, to facilitate judging, we combined the Spanish entries into one category. A quick refresher on how our judging works. An expert panel of judges assessed each entry against 5 criteria you see listed on your screen. The criteria also help nominees create and vet their materials prior to submitting. We give a big thank you to all of our judges for their hard work in assessing and providing thorough, actionable feedback on all our entries this year. The goal, of course, is to create content, structure, and design that enables people to quickly and easily find need, understand what they find, and act on that understanding. Out of 120 entries, only 44 became awards of distinction winners. So congratulations to you all. Entries fall into the categories I mentioned earlier. For each category, judges select the best work to receive awards of distinction. Then they chose category winners from the finalists. Today, we'll award our best of category winners. And by the end of the event, 2 entries will walk away with the big prize, the Grand ClearMark Award, one for English and one for Spanish. To choose these 2 winners, our panel of lead judges reviewed all category winners and the judges' comments. From there, they chose our grand winners, the best of the best. Now, for our first category, before and after digital. In this category, organizations were judged by how well they revised and improved originally difficult information for plain language. Our finalists in this category are CDC's cholesterol website refresh, Palladian Partners on behalf of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. CDC's Epidemic Intelligence Service website redesign, WSTAT. From Confusion to Clarity, Revising Dog Importation Information, Division of Global Migration and Quarantine, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And the winner is CDC's Epidemic Intelligence Service website redesign, WSTAT. Judges' comments include, this entry is an excellent example of rethinking a site based on understanding the different audiences and their top tasks. How heartening it is to read about such a fully user-centered design process. After gathering data from focus groups, card sorts, and analytics, the team moved to a content audit and what reads like at least 2 rounds of usability testing. The insights gained from testing are evident on every page. Sections are easier to find, the photos and videos are more engaging, and it's just far easier to actually apply. And with the new emphasis on community, the program is likely to flourish even more than it has. In the before and after print category, here are the finalists. 7-Eleven Enrollment Guide, Great West Life. Aetna, Better Health of New Jersey Medicaid Magazine, Aetna. Chemo Plain Language Patient Guide, UAMS Center for Health Literacy. Virginia Department of Elections What Ifs, a complete guide for helping voters with exceptional situations. Center for Civic Design with Virginia Department of Elections. Woodman Life, Opportunity to Change Your Insurance Letter, Woodman Life. And the winner is Virginia Department of Elections What Ifs, a complete guide for helping voters with exceptional situations. Center for Civic Design with Virginia Department of Elections. The judges said, as a poll worker and election site supervisor myself, I appreciate this excellent guide to handling difficult problems on election day. Its structure enables ease of use, its language, ease of understanding, and its overall revision, ease of helping voters. Soliciting input from poll workers guided the revision, while pilot testing with counties pointed out further areas to change. All the judges loved this project. Democracy is a design problem. This guide shows how true that is. Congratulations on your contribution to plain language and democracy. Now, for the brochures over 10 pages category. In this category, entrants were judged for how well they created a print or digital brochure with 11 or more pages from scratch. The finalists are Debt Getting in Your Way? Get a Handle on It, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Hydroxyurea for Sickle Cell Disease, Communicate Health. I Can Manage Type 2 Diabetes, up-to-date information on ways to live well with diabetes, Institute for Healthcare Advancement. Start Smart Foundations, Davia. And the winner is Hydroxyurea for Sickle Cell Disease, Communicate Health. Plain language with a purpose. This is a well-thought effort that gets better each time you read through it. If I had sickle cell disease, this brochure would help me be more informed about my choices. The length is perfect. Not too little, not too much. From its clear table of contents to the reader stories, this brochure explains the drug in a very friendly way. Complex medical concepts are translated into everyday language that users will be able to understand. I absolutely would use this booklet as a prime example of plain language writing and design. Okay, moving on to our next award for brochures up to 10 pages. The finalists are Breastfeed Your Baby to Reduce the Risk of SIDS handout, Eunice Kennedy Shriver National Institute of Child Health and Human Development, and Palladian Partners. CEBRE, Communicating the External Beam Radiation Experience, Institute of Design at Illinois Institute of Technology, along with University of Chicago Medicine, Department of Radiation Oncology. EAP Alzheimer's Caregiver Guide, Anthem. Indiana HIP Startup Guide, Anthem. And the winner is Breastfeed Your Baby to Reduce the Risk of SIDS handout, Eunice Kennedy Shriver National Institute of Child Health and Human Development, and Palladian Partners. This simply designed brochure will help reinforce important safety messages about breastfeeding, helping to reduce the risk of sudden infant death syndrome. Great use of text and corresponding images to tell the story of safe sleep and SIDS. Very helpful integration of tips to give direction on what to do in challenging or risky situations. Well done. Our next ClearMark category is Best Digital, Apps and Microsites. This category celebrates the best use of plain language, writing, and information design on an app or microsite. An app is a wizard or interactive advisor within a website, or a standalone app for a phone and or computer. Microsites are websites with up to 20 pages of content. The finalists are Export Development, Canada's Managing Risk, a guide for exporters. Plainly Speaking with Export Development Canada. Healthy Louisiana Mobile Medicaid Enrollment App, Maximus Center for Health Literacy. Minnesota Sales Tax Rate Interactive Map, Minnesota Department of Revenue. The Journey to Adult Financial Well-Being, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And now, the winner is Minnesota Sales Tax Rate Interactive Map, Minnesota Department of Revenue. The judges say this app does exactly what its audience asks for. Simplifies the process of understanding tax rates throughout the region. Gaining insight from a survey and web data analysis, the developers cut directly to a clear, effective solution for the audience's specific need, a map. Without distracting add-ons, the map is incredibly easy to navigate, and its layout lets you not only find tax rates for a specific area, but also compare them across the state. Next up, we have digital, email, and newsletters. This category recognizes plain language in email or newsletters delivered electronically. The finalists are College Planning Engagement Email Series, Sally Mae. Employee Benefits Trip Campaign, The Standard. Growing Families Newsletter, Adopt US Kids Digital Media Team. Thank You, Pass It On, Anthem. And the winner is Growing Families Newsletter, Adopt US Kids Digital Media Team. This entry demonstrates plain language writing and information design very well, especially considering some of the particular government standards and policies which the organization must follow in its communications. We were all impressed by the way the team used audience testing to continuously improve the content. Each newsletter edition takes advantage of smart organization, compelling storytelling, and well-chosen photos to support its message. The results suggest that the audience analysis, testing, and frequent revisions have paid off in improved engagement. So, we're nearly halfway through our category award winners, and I can just feel the plain language passion in all of your hearts. Plain language passion, of course, is certainly something I've held near and dear ever since my high school history teacher gently suggested I was overwriting my essays. Apparently, Woodrow Wilson held intensely obtuse beliefs regarding the capacity of mankind for learning and self-governance, which were influenced by his antiquated and outdated prejudices, is somehow less clear than the League of Nations failed in Congress. Who knew? Moving on. Now, we're ready for the best digital websites. This category recognizes plain language in websites with more than 20 pages of content. The finalists are Infant and Toddler Nutrition Website, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Together by St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. And the winner is Together by St. Jude. The website makes a topic as difficult and emotional as cancer approachable and clear. The team clearly understands that cancer is more than medical jargon, so they address personal struggles as well as hospital ones. And they genuinely want their audiences to understand what's written. They break down large chunks of information into smaller parts with straightforward subheads and bullets and incorporate hover boxes for difficult words. I was most impressed by their attention to detail and their foresight to include subtopics such as age-appropriate information. I can see how valuable a site such as this will be to families going through a hard cancer diagnosis. The team also took one of the strongest approaches to evaluating a website I've ever seen, going directly to the target audience and actually observing them performing key tasks. Well done. The next ClearMark category is Best Forms, Applications, and Statements. This category includes forms and applications, which are formatted documents that allow people to submit information. Statements show the transactions of a financial account. The finalists are Kentucky Health Invoice, Anthem. Michigan Medigap Subsidy Program Application, Maximus Center for Health Literacy. And the winner is Michigan Medigap Subsidy Program Application, Maximus Center for Health Literacy. This subsidy application works hard to reach an audience that may struggle with financial forms because of low literacy, low numeracy, or a combination of both. Thanks to effective graphic design, the application helps users see exactly what they need to provide, taking the guesswork away from the consumer. It's easy to scan with labels that forecast what's next and clear, and uncrowded tables. The application shows that providing financial information doesn't have to be intimidating or overwhelming. The next ClearMark category is Best Infographics. This category recognizes infographics, visual representations that use data visualization and copy to tell a story. The finalists are Chronic Pain Management Infographic, Aetna. Don't Ignore Your Pelvic Floor Infographic, Eunice Kennedy Shriver, National Institute of Child Health and Human Development, and Palladian Partners. EMS Providers, How to Stay Safe on the Job, National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health with National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Office of EMS. And the winner is Don't Ignore Your Pelvic Floor Infographic, Eunice Kennedy Shriver, National Institute of Child Health and Human Development, and Palladian Partners. The judges' comments say this infographic will enable women to recognize whether or not they have a pelvic floor disorder and know to talk to their doctor about treatment options. It even recognizes that some women might feel embarrassed about talking to a doctor and does a good job of addressing this. Headings and bold text guide readers through each section, while typography, color, and white space enhance the readability. This piece works on so many levels. Now, on to the Best Legal category. This includes regulations, contracts, leases, privacy statements, jury instructions, or other documents addressing primarily legal issues. There was only one finalist this year. After opening What You Need to Know, United States Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit. The judges chose not to select a winner from this category this year. We applaud the work of our finalists. Next, we have the award for Best Letters and Correspondence. The finalists are Connector Care Enrollment Form, Massachusetts Health Center. Making State Audits Readable, How We Used Plain Language and User-Centered Design to Create Audits Small Business Owners Could Understand, Washington State Department of Labor and Industries. Virginia Switchback Postcard, Anthem. And the winner is Making State Audits Readable, How We Use Plain Language and User-Centered Design to Create Audits Small Business Owners Could Understand, Washington State Department of Labor and Industries. The judges say this is an extraordinary entry, no matter which category held it. The before examples show the tired, old bureaucratic style that terrifies auditees and creates barriers for the auditors in getting the materials they need to review. Even without the before examples, the revised versions are spectacularly successful. I've never seen judges agree so thoroughly in their scores and comments. It's an outstanding piece of work in all elements, including evaluation and the impact on its organization. Our next award is for Best Posters, Charts, and Flyers. The finalists are Crime Prevention Ottawa, Social Media Cootie Catcher, and Parent Tip Sheet. Plainly Speaking, along with Crime Prevention Ottawa. Health and Wellness Calendar, Anthem. Magellan Complete Care of Arizona Flyer, Magellan Health. Move Your Way Fact Sheets, Office of Disease Prevention and Health Promotion, and Communicate Health. And the winner is Move Your Way Fact Sheets, Office of Disease Prevention and Health Promotion, and Communicate Health. The judges say after viewing this entry, it's hard to stay still. Its visuals enliven the spirit, and its clear messaging gives a concrete sense of physical activity's importance to the body, mind, and soul. The entry is chock full of clever, pleasing techniques, some that make an impact even though small or subtle. Clearly, user testing made a difference here. Using in-person and remote focus groups, the team sought feedback not only from consumers, but healthcare providers, phys ed teachers, and government planners. The result is a model of plain language in its language choices and signposting, crisp writing, and visuals that connect with the eye and mind. We've made it to the final category. Now we're ready to recognize the organizations that made the judges' cut as our Spanish ClearMark finalists. The finalists are Entendiendo el TEPT y el Tratamiento para el TEPT, Communicate Health, with the National Center for PTSD. Frankly Speaking About Cancer, Ensayos Clínicos, Cancer Support Community. Virginia Medicaid Managed Care, Medallion 4.0 website, Maxima Center for Health Literacy. And the winner is Virginia Medicaid Managed Care, Medallion 4.0 website, Maxima Center for Health Literacy. The judges say this highly effective site is task-oriented and written in a way that will be useful to Spanish-speaking consumers. The language is easy to read and use, while the structure and graphic design provide strong visual pathways for users. The design invites the audience to keep reading, and you can spot the important information at a glance. What's more, the smart consumer testing validated the choices made for the website, while uncovering areas for improvement. Overall, a solid example of plain language principles, and it should translate to higher enrollment rates and better consumers. We've had some serious competition, and all of this excellent work is a reminder of why clarity matters and how we can all do our parts to make plain language the norm. Now it is time to announce our Spanish Grand ClearMark winner. We have honored Spanish language documents for a number of years now. Creating these documents requires talent and dedication, and if you're translating these documents from English, even more attention is necessary. At least 40 million people speak Spanish at home in the US, and 54% of English-speaking Hispanics in the US are bilingual. Clearly, ensuring this audience can access plain language documents is important. And the 2019 Spanish Grand ClearMark winner is Virginia Medicaid Managed Care, Medallion 4.0 website, Maxima Center for Health Literacy. The lead judge for Spanish commented that this entry scored quite high and is more than worthy of the Grand ClearMark. As mentioned before, this entry invites the audience to keep reading and should lead to higher enrollment rates and better informed consumers. If someone from the team that submitted this project would like to say a few words, please raise your hand using the button at the bottom of the and we will unmute your audio. Be sure to unmute it on your end as well. You can also post some comments in the chat box if you prefer. We hope you've enjoyed the ceremony today. Hold on though, it's not quite over yet, because now we're ready for the last award of the afternoon, the Grand ClearMark for English Language Submissions. On the screen are the names of all our category winners from this evening. Their work represents the best in plain language. Let's congratulate these winners. There is a poll showing up, so click on Hooray to show your support for all category winners. There you go. Give them a shout out, a woohoo, a way to go, anything else. We're really excited for all the work we've looked at today. 66% of you went with woo, in case you were wondering. And now, I'm honored to present the Grand ClearMark winner for English documents. The 2019 Grand ClearMark for English goes to Move Your Way Fact Sheets, Office of Disease Prevention and Health Promotion, and Communicate Health, Inc. Our lead judge had this to say about the winner. Our Grand ClearMark winner exemplifies a plain language principle that sometimes gets less attention than it should: knowing your audience. At every process, from planning and initial drafting to revising and finalizing this fact sheet, the Communicate Health team engaged the people who would use the fact sheet. The team talked and listened to potential users in focus groups, interviews, and surveys before and during the design of the fact sheets. And then their final material testing involved observing users and listening to their feedback. Again and again on the way, the team iterated and tweaked to ensure that this fact sheet got users to move your way. And the finalized version shows just how much it pays off to listen and respond to users. As our lead category judge said, after viewing this entry, it's hard to stay still. If someone from this award-winning group would like to say a few words, please raise your hand and we'll unmute your audio. You may also post comments in the chat box if you prefer.
Hey guys, I just want to say on behalf of the whole team at Communicate Health, thanks so much. This is an honor to win. And I can say that we've had a really great time making these, a lot of fun kind of thinking through, what these activities could be, how we're going to present them and all that. And, the team at ODPHP was a true joy to work with. So it's good to see our really fun work pay off, and we appreciate all the judges and all of you out there for doing the great work that you do. So thank you.
Thank you. And that's all, folks. Congratulations to all of you. You've helped us have yet another awesome celebration. She's mailed out within the next week to all finalists, category winners, and Grand ClearMark winners. Certificates for all finalists will be emailed later this week. If anyone has any questions, email info@centerforplainlanguage.org. Thank you so much for listening to me speak for the last hour, even when I attempted Spanish. And congratulations again from me to all of you for all your hard work. I learned a lot about my pelvic floor and about how to move your way. I hope that you can join us next year to once again recognize the very best in plain language. As a reminder, here are the dates for 2020. We will be sending out a follow-up email after this event and would appreciate your feedback. Please give one more thank you to our sponsors. Thank you again, and have a great afternoon.